Hi, this is Dr. Hagmeyer. I'm the clinic director here at the Naperville Institute for Neurometabolic Solutions. And if you're just joining us, over the last couple of videos, we've been kind of unraveling this mystery that and some of the triggers behind thyroid dysfunction. And I get a chance to work with hundreds of men and women, really all over the country, who have not been able to find help anywhere else. And I think one of the big reasons why we're able to help so many people is really due to the fact that we uncover many of the missing pieces of this thyroid dysfunction. And so while most doctors are really doing nothing more than trying to replace lost hormones with thyroid replacement, other doctors may be missing many of the underlying thyroid puzzle pieces and triggers. And today we're going to unveil just another common problem that I see when people come to my office, and that has to do with anemia. Okay? Anemia is often one of the main and common obstacles that can affect thyroid function. And if you have anemia, it really is one of the very first things that really needs to be corrected. Much of thyroid function is dependent upon healthy B6 levels, B12 levels, iron levels. And one of the major reasons why anemia is so important is that if you suffer with anemia, your brain, your thyroid, your muscles are literally starving for oxygen. And oxygen is absolutely essential to life. It's absolutely essential to the life of the cells. And it's absolutely essential to the healing and repair mechanisms of your body. So the brain and the nervous system, if we look at both of those two systems of the body, they really need two main things. The first thing they need is fuel, and the second thing they need is activation. So they need to be stimulated. Okay, fuel comes in the form of oxygen and glucose. And so if your body is lacking proper glucose, if it's lacking proper fuel because, let's say, you have a blood sugar issue, whether it be insulin resistance or hypoglycemia or diabetes, or it's lacking proper oxygen, due to anemia, you're really depriving your body of one of the very basic requirements for cellular repair, and this will have a devastating effect on thyroid performance. Your body simply cannot operate adequately if there's no oxygen for the red blood cells, okay? So it's vital, if you suffer from any type of anemia, that you make this a metabolic priority, okay? Very, very important. So you might be wondering, well, what causes anemia, okay? Maybe you've heard anemia, maybe you've had it in the past. And there are really many different causes, but whatever the reason, it needs to be looked into. And I want to review just some of the common causes that I see in my practice very often relating to anemia. And some of those things include things like ovarian cysts, hormonal imbalances in women, and many people who are vegetarians. We see a lot of B6 and B12 deficiencies, which can affect oxygenation levels, which can affect fatigue and things like that, brain fog, and as well as heavy menstrual periods, okay? Obviously, the heavy menstrual periods, that makes sense. If you're losing a lot of blood during your cycle, you'll be losing a lot of oxygen to the tissues. You're going to be anemic. But there's a lot of other conditions, for example, such as gastrointestinal bleeding, okay? If you're the kind of person that is just living on Tylenol or ibuprofen or aspirin, this is another potential cause. It's a leading cause of death in the United States, is GI bleeding due to Tylenol exposure, Tylenol overdose. There's other conditions like alcoholics, and there are things like bacterial infections which can also cause anemia. Autoimmune attacks, for example, on the red blood cells is another type of condition that could cause a specific type of anemia called pernicious anemia. And that's something that is, again, being driven by an autoimmune attack. And so you can see, if you have anemia, additional tests are really needed to determine why you have anemia in the first place. And again, here's a case where simply taking an iron supplement really can't fix the problem. If you do have anemia, you really want to be careful with iron levels, okay? Iron levels should really be checked every 30 to 90 days with people who suffer with anemia and who are taking any type of iron supplement. Too much iron in the body is obviously toxic, and that's not a good thing. It's just as toxic as things like mercury and even lead. So that's just my word of caution to you. So in closing, I want you to realize that anemia is a major obstacle when you have thyroid problems, and its causes really need to be investigated. 2, anemia has robbed the body of oxygen, which is vital to repair and healing. And simply taking iron supplements can be very, very dangerous if you don't follow up and you don't retest. You don't want to overdose on iron. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's thyroid video series, and I want you to stay tuned for next week, because next week I'm going to explain to you what your doctor is missing when he or she looks at your TSH levels. Okay, I'm also going to cover the thyroid test your doctor probably hasn't ordered and why they're so important. Okay, and just a hint, it's much more than just TSH, T3, and T4. Well, I'm Dr. Hagmeyer, and I hope you enjoyed this short video. Take care.